Under Azure Load Balancer services, there is a 4 services available actually. You know, Azure Load Balancer, this is a one, and application gateway and traffic manager, as well as we have the front door. It's a front door. One more load balancer also is available. Totally 4 types of load balancer. Each load balancer, what purpose, how to use it, we'll look into that one by one, so that we'll get the more idea in which scenario we can go with the which load balancer. Okay. So interview perspective, it's a very important, and real-time perspective, mostly we'll use the Azure load balancer, and nextly a little bit widely use the application gateway, and rarely use the traffic manager and front door. Traffic manager and front door, especially some scenarios will use the traffic manager. I never seen as of now in my situation, in my project experience, the front door I never seen, but it's might be depends on that we'll get it. But as of now, I seen Azure Load Balancer, application gateway, and traffic manager. These 3 situation, like I know the things, we'll discuss one by one, and we'll understand the what how is a load balancer will work, and in which scenario we can use the which load balancer. These things we try to understand, and accordingly we'll do the practicals also, so that we'll get the more idea. So in this, first of all, we'll try to understand the Azure load balancer. Under that, 2 types of is available. Under that, 2 types is available: basic and standard. Basic and standard majorly, but nowadays one more is also is available, that is a gateway. That is a gateway. Generally previously it's a 2 is available, 2 types is available. Nowadays is a under Azure load balancer, there is a one more is available, that is a gateway load balancer. Gateway load balancer also. So we'll try to understand what is the differences and everything. First of all, what is the use of load balancer? First point, what is the use of this load balancer? Normal. So this load balancer only distribute the load into the backend pool. Only distribute the load into the backend pool. So that means suppose I'm hosting my web servers, my website. So it's my web server getting the large huge amount of request. So much traffic I'm getting. So I want distribute the load, and I don't want is a getting the problem into the my website is a performance issue or get down the my web server. So in this scenario, what we'll do generally, we'll host it the web servers into the, suppose example wise 3 servers I hosted. 3 servers I hosted the that my web server front end application. So front end I can use the load balancer. This load balancer IP address point out to the my front end URL. Like suppose www.abc.com, like that. I point out to the load balancer IP address. Load balancer IP address. So that end user, when they are trying to access it, www.abc.com, when they are trying to access it from their client mission web browser, from that request will go to the this load balancer, because of we point out the load balancer IP address for this URL. So that request will go to the load balancer. That load balancer understand the request and distribute the load into the backend pool. Distribute the load into the backend pool. That means is the end users, multiple users. One user request, it go to the one server. Another user request, another server. Another user request, another server. Another user request, another server. Like that, it will try to distribute the load into the that backend pool of virtual machines, guys. That backend pool of virtual machine wise, it will distribute the load into the backend pools. This backend pools, this Azure load balancer only support the VMs. That means virtual machine or virtual machine scale set only. Virtual machine and virtual machine scale set only it's supported, because of these are regional services, and it's a within the region only. Suppose my backend virtual machine is to ES2 example, and front end load balancer also should be East US2 only. East US2 only. If you are using different region and load balancer, different region of VMs, you can't able to add it. We can't able to add into the backend pool, guys. We can't able to add into the backend pool. This load balancer works on the layer 4. Layer 4 means in the OSA layer wise, transport layer. Layer 4 means transport layer, it will work. That means it support the TCP and UDP traffic. It handle the TCP and UDP traffic especially. Okay. So totally this is a one guys. And in case of one of the virtual machine something health issue, or might be it's not working properly, might be it's a shutdown or something OS crash or something different issue. So how is the load balancer understand without sending the load into that particular virtual machine, remaining two virtual machine distribute the load? Because of health probe is a concept is available guys. Health probe when we are deploying and configuring the load balancing, and we need to create a health probe and associate the in the load balancing rule, so that the health probe keep on checking is a backend pool, it's a healthy or not. That means if it is a right now backend is a suppose web server port number 80 I'm using, so I'm going to specify port number 80 backend pool and needs to be validated. So that means keep on checking port number 80 is a communicating or not, it's a keep on checking. In case of that port number 80 it's not communicating, consecutive failures happen. That means continuously three times is a failure. So that load balancer treat that backend pool it's not healthy. Immediately that load balancer it won't send the traffic to that backend pool. It won't send the traffic to that backend pool. That means it won't distribute the traffic into the backend pool. It will distribute the load into the remaining two virtual machine. It will distribute the load into the remaining two virtual machine, guys. Totally, this is the way it will happen. Understood? Any questions?
No,
Any
Kiran.
questions?
No.
Okay. So here, what I mentioned, basic and standard. Basic is a free edition, free tier. There is no cost. If it is we are going to use the basic edition, there is no cost at all. That means if there is no cost means even Microsoft not provide the SLA. That means what is the mean in case of basic load balancer, it's a down or something issue with that. Even Microsoft won't provide the SLA, even they won't give the any SLA for this. That means they won't provide the any SLA means if it is a down, when it's going to up, even they won't give the guarantee on this. They won't give the guarantee on this. So generally for testing and development purpose we can use the basic load balancer, but production wise recommended to use the standard because of SLA they are providing. That means we have to pay money. We have to pay money. So it's a paid version, like kind of. Okay, it's a free version. This is a paid version, like that you can think. And coming to basic load balancer, there is no SLA because of it's a pre-edition, free tier. So standard is a paid version. So we should will get it the by default SLA. That means if it is anything down, and immediately we can raise the case with the Microsoft, they will look into that. Immediately they will provide the troubleshoot, and they will work on that. Even they will give the guarantee when it's going to up and everything. They will give the some ETA for that. Okay. And limitations wise also is available, we'll discuss that limitations also. But basically high level, this is one of the difference. There are so many differences are there, we'll discuss one by one. So here other differences is the backend. In the basic load balancer backend 300 instance, that means 300 virtual machines only we can able to add. But here standard 1000 virtual machines, 1000 instance we can able to add it. Here that backend pool virtual machine and virtual machine scale set. Here it's a VMs with the availability zone or availability set and virtual machine scale set. These all those things it's supported. These all those things it's supported in the standard. And here zone redundancy it's not available. Zone redundant not available. Here it's a providing the zone redundant. It's a providing the zone redundant, guys, for this standard. And multiple inbound front end configuration we can do it. Same thing here also, inbound we can do it. Additionally outbound also we can able to do it. Inbound and outbound configuration also we can do it in the standard, but basic only inbound configuration only we can able to do it. It won't support the outbound configuration. And here standard, if you we are going to use it for external purpose, that means over the internet purpose. If we are going to use the standard load balancer, standard public IP address generally will use it. Standard public IP address means by default it won't allow the inbound request. It won't allow the inbound request. Even within the organization also, standard load balancer if it is created, it won't allow the internet connection. Okay, it won't allow the internet connection also, that backend pool. That is the security reasons. Standard load balancer by default whenever you create a standard load balancer backend virtual machine, by default within the organization purpose you are using, that means that standard load balancer with the private IP address you created and added to the two virtual machine in the backend, and it won't allow the internet access on the two virtual machine. Security wise, by default it will block the internet access that virtual machines. So how to allow it means in the firewall rule we can create it and allow it. The particular entire subnet range we need to provide it, and that way we can allow the internet access that backend pool of virtual machines. Otherwise we can't. And especially energy means whenever we are using the standard public IP address, at that time backend virtual machine should have subnet level or network interface card level network security group is required. That network security group is required because of by default inbound is a block. If you are not associate the network security group, that inbound it won't flow to the load balancer to backend virtual machine. Backend virtual machine it won't flow. That's the reason in the whenever we are using the standard load balancer with the public IP address, at that time we must and should use the stand network security group also. Understood? And one more thing, operation wise, operation performance wise, this is a 60 to 90 seconds. This is a less than 30 seconds is a management operation. And health probe in the especially health probe. Health probe wise, it support the TCP and HTTP only. And this is a standard load balancer. It support the TCP, HTTP, and additionally HTTPS will get it. HTTPS additionally will get it, guys. These are the major differences understand between the standard and basic load balancers. This question generally interview most of the time they will ask you. Most of the time, commonly, generally they will ask you, can you please explain differences between the load balancer standard and basic? Generally 99% they will ask you this question. Got it? Any questions? And one more thing, let me go to the Azure portal. Let me show you Azure load balancer. If you refer the things, basic versus standard. Okay, if you go to there is a Microsoft documentation and you can refer here. So what is the saying that standard load balancer and basic load balancer? So here scenario occupied for load balancing network layer traffic when high performance low latency is needed, routes traffic within the across the regions and availability zone, and for high resiliency. This is a one small scale application that don't need the high availability or redundancy, not compatible with the availability zone. It won't support the availability zone. Why is it won't supported? This is the one because of in this basic load balancer zone redundant it's supported. That's the reason it won't support the availability zone of virtual machine. Already I clearly mentioned. Yes. So here backend type is a IP based, NIC based. This is the only NIC based only. We can add the backend virtual machines. Protocol wise, TCP and UDP both is the same. There is no difference at all. Backend pool endpoints here clearly mentioned virtual machine scale set and virtual machine set and single virtual network from that. Okay, this is also virtual machine in the single availability set or virtual machine scale set only. That is a one. And health probe wise TCP, HTTP, HTTPS and TCP, HTTP only. And you can see here, guys, TCP connection stay alive on the instant probe down and all the probes down. TCP connectivity stay alive and in instant probe down all TCP connection and all the probes are down. But here all the probes are down. So almost is the same. Like here you can see zone redundant. It's not supporting here basic and it's supporting here inbound and outbound also. And diagnostic also, yes, Azure Monitor multi-dimensional metrics and everything UAE can collect it. But here Azure Monitor it won't support it, basic load balancer. And HA port, especially in Azure platform, clustering, Windows failover cluster or Linux failover cluster, if you want use it. And generally on-premises, no need to use the clustering purpose, no need to use the load balancer. But in Azure platform, you want to use the clustering means we must and should use the front-end load balancer. Why? Because of on-premises virtual IP concept is available. virtual cluster IP. But here virtual IP we won't get it in Azure platform. That's the reason HA ports wise we can use the in the Azure load balancer, that is especially standard load balancer only supported. So that means load balancer using that only we can able to do the Windows failover cluster or Linux failover cluster, we can able to do it. Understood? One more point here. And secure by default and open by default, network security group optional. But here close the inbound flow unless allowed the network security group, and internal traffic from the virtual network to the internal load balancer is allowed. So that is a way, it's a by default. That's the reason. So outbound rules wise, declarative outbound NAT configuration we can do it, but here it won't support it. TCP reset on ideal available on any rule, but here nothing available. Multiple front-end IP address, inbound and outbound purpose we can use it, but only inbound purpose only, multiple we can use it front-end. Management operation wise also already mentioned. This is the 30 seconds. This is the 60 to 90 plus seconds typical. SLA also 99.99% they are providing, but here nothing is available. Here global VNet peering support wise, yes, standard load balancer is supported via global VNet peering. Global VNet peering wise, it supported the standard load balancer, but here it won't support it. And NAT gateway also, yes, NAT gateway both load balancer standard public IP address support the NAT gateway, but here NAT gateway in front of it won't support it. Private link supported, yes, here nothing supported. Global tier preview, the right now something, it's a new feature they are trying to add it. Standard load balancer support the global tier for public load balancer, enabling cross region load balancing. Okay, they are trying to enable the cross region load balancer service also, we can use this one. It's a still is a previous state, that is also available under standard only, it won't available in the basic. Understood guys? Any questions? These many differences is available comparison wise. So interview, if you explain these many points, at least 5 or 6 major points, definitely they will satisfy. So that link also provided here, even same link I will provide it in the group also. So here, any questions up to now?
Okay then.
Okay. Everything clear? So like a lot of futures, lot of things are there. It's a load balancers and limitations also. It's a, you can say, standalone virtual machine resources availability set resources as references SKU never. So that means based on what type of virtual machine you are using backend, accordingly front end you need to use it. There is a one more load balancer, what I said, it's a gateway load balancer. When we'll use it, gateway load balancer, gateway SKU type created for third party network virtual appliance. When we are using the third party network virtual appliance, that means third party firewall. That third party firewall, how we can use it in Azure platform, what I mentioned, as a virtual machine. Yes. So single virtual machine is enough, third party firewall? No. Generally that firewall also redundancy purpose, generally will create a one more virtual machine will create it. And these two virtual machine needs to be handle the traffic, totally distribute the load into the backend pool of this needs to be added. At that time, normal standard or basic load balancer, we won't use it. We should use the gateway load balancer. When using the backend, it's a third party load balancer, third party network virtual appliance. At that time, front end, we need to use the gateway load balancer. Gateway load balancer, we should use it. Understood? So that related, it's a clearly mentioned here. You can see here. And even it's a click on that one and we can get the more idea. Gateway load balancer related and the firewalls. We can insert the appliance transparently, different kind of scenarios such as a firewalls, advanced packet analysis. Just a minute, guys. Let me. So here you can see, guys, when you will going to use the gateway load balancer. So especially firewalls, advanced packet analysis, intrusion prevention systems, traffic monitoring purpose, DDoS protection, custom appliance, any scenarios we can use the gateway load balancer. That particular scenarios only we can use the gateway load balancers, guys. So that is the benefits also clearly given, and visual diagram also they given here. You can observe here. So whenever it's any customer application or any other application, it's anything, and the traffic is via this virtual appliance. That means especially it's a kind of firewall. If you treat this virtual appliance, and the traffic will go and communicate to the network virtual appliance, accordingly come to outside. So totally how is the flow, like this is a one visual diagram they given, you can observe here. So first it will go, and it's a kind of unfiltered web traffic. Unfiltered web traffic it's a getting, so it will going to check it, and unfiltered web traffic, that virtual appliance filter application traffic and filter application traffic. After that customer application it will reach it, customer application it will reach it. So that means totally anything the traffic security wise will use the this network virtual appliance. Okay, so here benefits also they mention: integrate the virtual appliance transparently into the network path, easily add or remove the network virtual appliance in the network path, scale with easy while managing the cost, improve the network virtual appliance availability, chain application across the regions and subscriptions. So these are the benefits, guys, from the gateway load balancer. Okay, got it? Any questions? Totally in the load balancer, we understand the three types in this: basic, standard, and gateway. Got it? Any questions? Generally, if you refer any places, we won't get the more information. Nobody discuss about this gateway load balancer. Generally, nobody discuss about this gateway load balancer, especially. So in interview, if you get the question, easily you can able to answer. What is a gateway load balancer? What is the use of that gateway load balancer? When we'll use it? Hopefully, is it clear? Any questions on this up to now? Is it clear, everyone? So these are the three types of load balancers, guys. And coming to, so most of the people not join. That is, I'm seeing the problem. Here, I'm going to first of all what we required for load balancing testing also, and we require the one load balancer, and backend is at least two virtual machine, and how it's distribute the load into the backend pool of these two virtual machine. We can able to see the practical. That is a one practical. Even suppose sometimes in some scenarios we'll use it, this load balancer, like virtual machine is available, and front end load balancer I'm using, and this is a like front end load balancer wise also I want able to take the RDB of this virtual machine. That is a requirement. Suppose you want take the RDB of this virtual machine, but that RDB also through load balancer I required. If I require the through load balancer, I want to access the RDB of this virtual machine. Yes, we can able to do it. How to do it through load balancer also I will show you. That is a one more scenario also generally. So many different options is available. We'll going to discuss one by one. Okay. So I thought today we'll join everyone. So let's see, is like this way it's not joining. So one thing I will do, guys, Monday onwards, if it is joined or not, I will going to discuss one person also. If you join and discuss the topic and close it. Okay, I won't going to repeat it, and recording session is available. It's that persons can able to recording session, watch it and get to understand. That's it. But I'm not going to entertain this way.
Okay.
It's blocking to my things. It's here I need to complete the course. So many people, like around 3 or 4 people are asking new batch again.
Okay.
Okay, anyhow, let's say today is a like load balancer basic concept we everyone understand, and I provide the link also. And these links try to walk through, understand the more understand about this one. So even gateway load balancer also try to understand. Here I'm providing the gateway load balancer also URL, and refer that one also, as well as I will ping in the this group also, refer it. And tomorrow I will show you the practical load balancer. Monday onwards, single person if it is a join also, I will continue the session. I will complete the sessions, guys.
Okay, Kiran.
Yeah, any questions, any doubts?
No, Kiran.
Okay, hopefully is clear to everyone.
Yes.
Okay, thank you everyone, have a nice day. We'll meet on tomorrow.
Thank you.